Before we begin, a quick little update. You might have noticed a new name here. The channel is now called Ramble and Route. I felt it was the right time for a name that reflects both the journey and the idea of finding a home. Same videos, same stories, same two collies at my feet, just a new chapter. Thanks for sticking with me. So I'm still in Englethwaite in Cumbria. I was trying to book a viewing and unfortunately that property's gone, and the estate agent told me they have something else coming on that's needing renovation in Annan but won't be available for 4 days. So I'm left thinking, do I move on? I think the next campsite would be somewhere like Moffat, but actually that's further away from the potential viewings. It's all a bit of a gamble, especially on a house that you can't see and you don't know what it looks like. You've just got the estate agent saying it's available. Of course, it's a very different system in Scotland, and I'm having to learn what that means and how they operate. It's supposed to be far more efficient than England, although that's not difficult, let's face it. The English housing system is completely wrecked, or should I say the conveyancing system is completely wrecked. I'm aware of summer will be over before you know it. Sorry, that's a depressing way of looking at it. I am enjoying the summer. It's just at the back of my mind, I know I really don't want to spend another whole winter in the caravan. I could stick it out if I knew I was purchasing somewhere and it wasn't a long-term thing. But when you're moving around because of house viewings, which I have to do, so that could be hundreds of miles apart, it becomes much more problematic. And quite frankly, not the nicest. Yeah, but I'm not thinking about that. And the more I look at houses that are for sale, particularly in Scotland, that are within my price bracket, which, let's face it, is the lower end, although it's still a substantial amount to spend on any property, but I suppose I am at the entry level, so I'm going to be restricted on the amount of space, and certainly garage, workshop, whatever I'm hoping for. But I noticed that those sort of properties are mostly in Scotland. I don't know Scotland very well. I spent some time in the caravan there in Moffat and Scone. Is that how you pronounce it? Scone? But that was winter time, so although I explored, it wasn't the best time to see everything. So I'm thinking that takes me further away from my family. But if I'm going to do this being away from family, I want it to be worthwhile. So I might as well go all out and look and see what I can afford. Always at the back of my mind though is how far it is to go and see them. Yeah, and I've got to come to terms with that. I've noticed a couple of old churches for sale. Now that's intriguing. Some of them are B listed, C listed, again Scotland, so a different system to England, and some of them are very cheap for good reason. I was talking about renovation earlier. They're cheap because the cost of renovation is so expensive. I mean, I love quirky old buildings, so it's got me thinking. I'm only thinking, very tentative, but I mean, people do chapels up and churches up all the time, so it's not impossible, but there's all sorts of precautionary measures that you'd need to take, and cautionary tales of things that go wrong or hidden costs and so on. Now I'm just going to see if I can share some images. I don't want to infringe any copyright. I certainly won't share the location, although obviously the images and the videos are available online via Rightmove or any of those other platforms, what would you do? Would you be tempted? Say you found a property and it was under £50,000. I mean, when you've got electricity that goes to the site, and you've got water, but some of these things might not be connected. And you might have something that's had a roof replaced, but clearly floors, doors, windows and everything else need work. And it's so sad because somebody's obviously bought these properties in the past and with the same idea of doing them up, and then I don't know if they've run out of money or realised it's too big a project, or perhaps they did stuff that they didn't have planning permission for, so they literally abandoned the project partway through. And you can see items left like plasterboard and insulation and sometimes even work tools. So I feel sorry for them that they weren't able to complete their projects, but such is life at the moment. It's a damn struggle. I went back to the caravan and did some more research. While scrolling through listings, I spotted something unexpected. Old churches for sale. They're dotted all over Scotland and some in northern England. Many are surprisingly affordable. Some are under £100,000. But of course they come with their own challenges. Planning restrictions, heating, the sheer scale of them. But they offer something unique, space, history, and a sense of stillness. And maybe, for the right person, a home full of character. So maybe it's just a dream I've had since I was in my early 20s. Whew, that's a long time ago. And I think I would prefer to see these buildings go into community use, which I think is a better use of these facilities. On reflection, perhaps it is better that churches become residential property. At least they'd be looked after and well loved. Certainly by me, if I bought it, it would be a proper home. Would you be scared of buying a church, especially if you have the graveyard around you? But would it put you off? Would you be spooked by that? Another thing I've noticed, house prices continue to slide in some areas. A few properties I've bookmarked have dropped by £10,000 or £15,000 in just a few weeks. It's tempting, but it's also a reminder that waiting can sometimes pay off. So no viewings this week. One hopeful, but that didn't pan out. But the journey continues. Churches, cottages, or something entirely different. Who knows what the next listing might bring? One thing is certain, I'll keep rambling and rooting. Thanks for joining me again. Let me know in the comments, would you take on a church renovation? Or is that a step too far? Don't forget to subscribe for the next stop on the journey.